You know I always got this.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by DrRoto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. For some reason, that was one weird little load up with a lot of things going on. Oh yeah, what's up, Fuego Steve? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, my friend. I'm doing great.
Great.
Had a nice, relaxing evening last night when I went to a concert with my best friend, and it was great. And I'm just ready to get into the NFL. I'm ready for NBA. Just so everyone knows, I'll be getting articles in for NBA. But if you check the Discord recently, the very first game, we played the showdown. We did great. And playoffs heating up. I did a lineup yesterday. I put it in Discord. If you guys would have played it, you would have won a lot of money because I killed it. But I'm ready for football. Everyone, you got to pay attention to this show. Me and Heat know what we're doing. He's going to give you the cash lineups. I'm going to give you the tournament lineups. And just so everyone's aware, the Fuego Pick of the week was the highest scoring player on DraftKings last week. All right? So just keep that in mind.
I tried.
Yeah.
I mean, Ashton Genty was up there, but I'll give you props. You nailed it. He was a little owned, but where you really excelled at was Stafford.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Stafford at 5% was amazing.
He had 30 DraftKings points. Was he the highest scoring quarterback in DK? If not, he was for certainly close at 3 to 5%, which is Nakua was 30 to 50% because, of course, he's Nakua. We talked about we love him.
Exactly.
But when you pick Stafford, that's what gave you the advantage. All of my picks were pretty fire. All your picks were pretty fire. So this is what we talked about. Now we're starting to get in. There's injuries. Okay, now we got to see who's injured, who's the backups. The regulars are now starting to feel out for the new team. But here's where we're going to start to get into the season where you really got to pay attention to those injury reports. You got to see, that's the best thing about the NFL compared to NBA, which NBA you got to watch up until tip off, to see if they're hurt. At least now with the NFL, they give you time and say they're questionable. They probably won't play. And we have an idea if someone's going to play. But now is the time of the year where you really got to start paying attention to those injuries. Lamar Jackson, some other names that are hurt. My Ravens. We're not even going to talk about them right now. But but this is the time they're going to guide you through the next few weeks, as we start to get into the season here.
That's right, man. That's right. But if everybody just jumping in right now, doing it a little early on a Saturday because I'm going to be all crazy. And then, of course, UFC'd out later because we have amazing UFC coverage going on at Dr. Roto right now. The Stoop Can of the Week and the 5-tastic Picks articles just went live a little while ago on the actual website. Also, later today, all of the experts' picks for the DFS slate will be out. So you definitely want to get there and check everybody's articles out, as well as Steve's picks in the DFS and Betting NBA channels, as well as the other channels. Steve isn't a one-trick pony, as he was talking. He loves the NFL. He loves the NBA. But unfortunately for me, NBA is, unless it's late-night NBA, because of game lock, I can't do it because I'm always at karate. But hey, we're here to talk football today. We're here to bring the pain for another Ultra Contrarian show. Ooh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, I'll just give it a quick, you're getting the Ultra Contrarian lineup. You're going to get Steve's Core 4 and his Fuego Pick of the Week. Again, I don't know any of that. We had talked a little bit about mine, so there's some players on my lineups that Steve has not learned yet. So at the end, we'll throw it together. We'll also give you our DFS lineups, because that's what the Ultra Contrarian lineups are. 1 FanDuel, 1 DK, cash game lineup, and then we'll give you an optimizer lineup as well, too, as Steve's lineup as well, man. But, man, I'm ready to dive. Let's go. Quarterback Quarterback CJ Stroud, 5,200 on DK, 6,700 on FanDuel. I am patiently waiting with his boy to get that explosive game. But at 5,200, I'm willing to take that chance again because I hope that he's stunk it up for everybody enough so that I could get him under 10%. Steve, what do you think about the play?
I definitely like him in cash games. He's going against a depleted, and you could probably play him in a tournament too. He's going against a depleted Ravens secondary. Their whole defense, or not their whole defense, but they've lost last week. They got destroyed in the injury department. You got one cornerback or safety out, maybe two. Roquan Smith's out. Kyle Hamilton's questionable. We don't know if he's going to be playing. So, the Ravens are in trouble. And I hate to say it.
They're going to need to score. But hey, you know what? I am a Cooper Rush backer, bro. Like, I'm going to sit here and I'll stand on it. I have had Cooper Rush, and that curse is real. And the Ravens figured out why having Cooper Rush as your backup quarterback is a good thing, but also is a bad thing because that means your starting quarterback can be hurt. And Dak has dealt with that. Dak is healthy. Let's knock on wood if he's in your fantasy teams. But, man, dude, I think this opens up Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews like forever, bro.
Yeah, I think Andrews will have a good game. Flowers, they'll probably lean on Henry as long as they don't get too far behind. They're going to have to. Henry, he's their superstar now. If Jackson's not playing, he might miss a few weeks. And so Rush is going to probably lean on Andrews, lean on Flowers. They're going to probably try to keep take as much time give it to Henry, but I do like him in cash games quite a bit at that price on DraftKings. Is a really good price. And you probably could play him in tournaments. I'm not going to play him in a tournament. I don't see the upside. And then what I do see is if they do get up, they're not going to want to keep throwing. So I think it's going to depend on the game flow. But I do like that a lot in cash games.
And I'm going to say this is where, again, me going back, this is going to be one of those GPP plays because I do trust in Cooper Rush. He was 9 of 13. He had 52 yards, and he was able to complete a 14-yard pass. Now, usually with Cooper Rush, it takes him a game to heat up. But with him coming in and being able to do that and get a little game action, I think he should be fine this week. I think he's going to show a lot of people what skill set he brings and why he felt that he needed to move on from Dallas because he really does want a starting job, but unfortunately he's not a starting quarterback. He's exactly where he's at right now, and it's a perfect scenario for him to flourish, and he's probably going to be under 2% owned.
Who, Cooper Rush?
Yes, Cooper Rush.
He will probably be the lowest owned, but he also may score the lowest points. We don't know that.
He is not Blake Bortles, bro. He is not the Red Rifle Andy Dalton, bro.
I'm not saying that, but if he gets into Flowers in the open, but if Derrick Henry, we don't really spend too much time with Ravens but if Derrick Henry busts a couple, he won't even have to need to throw. But that's going to be an interesting thing to say the least. But it's a great price, $4,300 for Cooper Rush too, man. And he'll be way low owned if you really wanted to mess with the rest of your lineup.
But I am.
Yeah. But for GPPs, there's a few guys I like. If you want to talk about who's probably going to be the highest owned, it's probably going to be Justin Fields. He's going to have a great game. I have him in my lineup, at least in one of my three. We always talk about. I like the single entries. I like the 3 max. 5 max. So I usually do 1 to 3 lineups. So I really like Fields. He's going to be highly owned, but that's for a reason. He's going up against Dallas. He's got the worst, I think, pass defense right now currently. After missing week 3, Fields came back last week with 28.1 DraftKings points. He was 20 for 27 for 226 yards and a touchdown, and he ran 7 attempts for 81 yards and a touchdown. You got to remember, Fields can run. So, So I really do like Fields quite a bit in GPPs. I think you could actually play Prescott, but in that lower range, you said Stroud, but Fields 5,600. You got Jones for the Colts at 5,800. I like Kyle Murray at 5,900. I think you can play Dak at 6,000. Jackson's the highest on TK, who's out. Then you got Jaden Daniels. I'm not sure I'm going to play Jaden Daniels on the road at 7,000. Hurts, going against Denver, pretty good.
Yep.
I don't think you want to play 6,800. Goff 65, Mayfield 63. Yeah. But it's just what we talked about last week. A lot of these guys are averaging around 18, 20 points. Do you have to pay up unless you think they're going to have a 5-touchdown type game? I don't see any of those guys doing that. Now, I would play Herbert for. I think he's good, but I don't think you need to go above that $6,000. Murray, I really like Murray. I like Fields. And again, Fields will be highly owned, but he's going to be highly owned for a reason.
I agree with all of that, what you just said. Those were my targets. Of course, before we started the show, I said my 3 definitely, I started out, I said Goff, but Goff is kind of just keeping it safe. So I would, I'm not going to play Goff because if it does get into a running game with Monty going home and everything like that, and them coming into town in Cincy, they're going to get to that point where they're not going to throw the ball. And if they go into that, then you paid up for 6,500 for Goff, and you should have just had really both running backs. And that's just what I want to stay away from. That's what kind of scares me about Amon-Ra St. Brown. But with the work he's been getting, over 20 points the last few games, even going over 30, and being recommended by us and being able to get in those lineups last week is what led to another great week for me. Cash games, 3-1 on both sites for the year this year. So again, I agree with that. I think we got the low range, but now we have money for other positions. Before we move on, is there anything else you want to talk about?
You could play Goff, and Jaden Daniels, he very well could be the highest scoring quarterback this week. But at 7,000, if you look, if you drop down to say Murray 59, according to our projections on Dr. Roto, Jaden Daniels 20.6, Kyler Murray 19.4. That's only a 1-point difference for $1,100. Then you get Daniel Jones 5,800, Fields 56, Bo Nix 57, Geno Smith even at 54. I'm not thinking about. You got Bryce Young. You could possibly play Bryce Young at 4,700 if you really wanted to save money. So when we're talking quarterbacks, unless we have that feeling like I did about Stafford last week, that a guy's going to go off. They can, So, but I like all those guys. Goff should be low owned. You could, but I agree. The running game is what I'm going to target in that game.
Yeah. Speaking of the running game, let's move along. The highlighted player, my highlighted running back that we're going to talk about, started off, and then we're going to go for there, I think is a must own right now. Of course, he's going to be higher owned, but like we said, every single week, the one thing the Ultra Contrarian show has been able to pick out is those names everybody says they're going to play, and then we play them, and they're 12% owned. So we're talking about Breece Hall, 5,600 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel. I will pay that all day for somebody who's probably going to get 5 to 6, 7 targets out of the backfield, even less. He had a great game last week, as well as his boy Wilson. I'll highlight him too, but we're going to stick with the running backs for right now. How do you feel about Breece Hall?
Well, I like him a lot. I have him in the our IDP league, and now that what's his face is hurt, he like that. That's what they're worried about. They're going to take some now. Now he's hurt, so Breece Hall is going to get the touches. Our boy, our boy Chris Kennedy. He's got him as his 6th ranked running back in a full PPR this week, and at that price, it's great. And I think he's a great play. You can play him with Fields.
It leaves you open, and I don't think we have to pay up for running back.
No. I mean, I do like Gibbs, which we'll talk about in a second. But you got other guys. Let's see here. I'm going to take a quick look over here on Arn. Let me just go to pricing real quick here. You got Taylor.
You go to
Taylor's amazing. Jonathan Taylor's amazing at 8,000. But you need to pay that. You got Gibbs. I really like Gibbs this week. I'm thinking that I am probably pay up for him. You got Barkley. But the one guy that I like is a chain on Miami at 7,300 on DK. He's projected for 20 points going against Carolina. He's at the higher end, but that's okay. But then when you get into that middle range, if you're playing Fields, you could play Javonte Williams on the Cowboys. But Breece Hall at 5,600, is such for value is really good. But another guy I really like, Scatterboo, baby, Scatterboo. He's 6,000. 6,000. Yes, exactly. And when you're looking at our running back list, full PPR, let's see. Chris Kenny's got him as number 13. Number 13 at that price. That's a really good price, whereas, he's got number 12, who's 7,000, so save the 1,000, go for Scatterboo. But, Breece Hall's a great play in both GPP and, cash games. But I really like the Miami running back. You don't need to pay for Taylor. You could always pay for Taylor. But I like Gibbs. I really like Gibbs. I think a lot of people like Montgomery, but I think Gibbs is going to have a great game. And I think Barkley might have a decent game, but I still am not. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger. I am going to play him this year. I'm definitely going to play Barkley this year. I'm still not quite ready. But our other boy, your boy Amarian Hampton. He's a great. He's. Let's see. I'm multitasking here. Let's see. His price on DK.
We got 30 points last game, 30.5, 24 point for that. They're giving him 12 attempts, averaged over 10 plus was.
Before you come on optimizer, he's going to be the third highest scoring running back at 6,500. So why are you going to pay for and score 18 points? Now, again, these are projections, yada, yada, yada. But if you're going just by that, all the other people at that range are Taylor 8,000, 7,000 for a chain, 77 Gibbs, 75 Barkley. He's right in there at 65, and then Javonte Williams 62, and then Henry 7,000 and Breece Hall 5,600. So I'm not sure we need to. We've talked about paying up, but I don't think we have to go to Taylor or any of the higher guys when you got these guys that should have good games.
Exactly. And, a sneaky guy, and he didn't really work out too well for me last week, but, he was under 3%. He was 3% owned, was Tony Pollard. He put up his 12 points. It was just one of those games. They lost. They got whooped, and they got shut out. So he didn't really get an opportunity to really score a touchdown, but a touchdown turns that into that. But at 3% owned, I definitely, because people are going to be running to Rico Dowdle. They're going to run into this because they want this game to explode. But what happens if that game doesn't explode? What if the Carolina Panthers show up, the real Carolina Panthers, who aren't good? Then you're only getting 15 points per player across the board, and you're only going to get 10, 15 from that thing. You could say, well, I saved $1,000 over, from Dowdle, going down to Dowdle from Pollard. So, but now if Pollard or Dowdle is 19, 20, 25% owned, I don't want no piece of it. I'm fine. I'm fine to stay where I'm at so I can take my 3%.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's get it to the wide receivers because that's what we were saving a little bit of money for. And I'm staying in the same game and I'm staying on the same team. I'm going to highlight Garrett Wilson, 6,100 on DraftKings, 7,800 on FanDuel. A little pricier on FanDuel, but I think that 6,000 range on DraftKings is looking good. I'll also throw in the macho pick of the week is Nico Collins, and that is why the quarterback is Stroud and not Fields on my end because I am swaying so that I have a lower end percentage. How do you like those picks, and who do you got?
So Wilson, yes, pair him with Fields. He should have a great game. He's doing really well this year. He's got 27 receptions, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging, he even had a dud week 2 with only 9 DK points. But the other 3 games, he's got 22, 24, and 20 DraftKings points. Last week, 6 catches on 8 targets. The week before, 10 catches on 13 targets, averaging 19 DraftKings points. And again, going against probably the worst, passing defense in the league right now, currently, at least with Dallas. So you have to pair Fields with Wilson. I really like Wilson. Once again, I don't think, St. Brown, I love him. He's great. He's 7,900. You look at his points, 26, 20, 42, 8 the first week. He's got 307, but you want to pay up. And then what if Detroit gets up? They keep running with Montgomery. They keep with Chase. I'm still not ready to jump on the Chase train without what's his face in there. Since Burrow went down, he's only had 9 and 7 DraftKings points the past 2 weeks. He's getting the targets, but Burrow, people arguing Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and now you're talking about he's down to Browning. So I'm not ready to trust Chase. You got CeeDee Lamb, he's out, but if your opponent want to pay up, I'm going to butcher his name, Jackson Smith Najigba for Seattle. He's got 26 catches, 402 yards, and a touchdown. He's averaging 100 yards a game, averaging 19.6 DraftKings points. A tough game, but he's ranked pretty high on our list. You got Ibuka again at 69. Collins, like you said. I think you could even run Pickens back against the Jets. But I like going down this week. I like some of these lower guys. You got Quentin Johnson, Waddle.
Yeah.
Watch for Waddle. Okay. I really like Waddle. You got Tyreek Hill. He's out now. Yep. Waddle is a great receiver. He's great with Tyreek Hill. Now, will it put some more attention on him? Yes. But they have some guys that I think that they can work around. Waddle is now going to step into the number 1 receiver role, and he's really good. He's a really player. So I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Harrison Jr. again. He's got a good match. His price is about what we started. We talked at the beginning of the year he'd do well. Well, the first week he had 18 points. Then he kind of had 2 duds, but then he had 18 DraftKings points again. I like him going against Tennessee. Not very good defense. So Harrison, I like those guys in that range too. For my
Harrison, I agree with the Harrison. I want to pop in real quick. And the reason why is because he's now getting the Connor targets, as well as Deke Mercado is going to be getting those extra targets out of the backfield. But I know that Murray is waiting to have that 100-yard game with Harrison, and I think he's an excellent play right now, as well as just like we said last week with Johnston. If you're going to give me Johnston for 5,500, again, he was 10% under 10% owned on the slate. So if you're not listening to this show, people, I don't know what to tell you. We gave you 23 points, 10% owned under, Johnston on the lineup. That's what we do here, man.
And like you said, Connor's out. Harrison had 10 targets last week. And Harrison was being drafted very high in season long. He's still a great player. This may be his breakout week, I really do like Harrison. I actually have him currently in my lineup. But one other guy that I really like is Deebo Samuel. Yeah. Okay. We got Terry McLaurin's out. Samuel last week, 6 targets, 6 catches for 72 yards, and a touchdown, 20 DraftKings points. 3 of the 4 games this year on DraftKings, 17, 22, and 20. He had a dud in versus Vegas. That's 22 receptions, 204 yards, 3 touchdowns for the year. I really like Samuel this week.
Yeah, that's late. I dig it. Now let's get to where we're going to do some savings into tight end. And then, of course, we're going to do a defense. And then we're going to be getting into our ultra contrarian lineups. So I'm going Mason Taylor. Everybody is going to be thinking, everybody wants to say Mason Taylor, but they're really going to play Tommy Tremble. But we already figured out the sway on that. The sway from Tommy Tremble will be the backup, who also had a touchdown last week to Tommy Tremble, which was Mitchell Evans for the Carolina Panthers, 2,700. But for me, I'd rather do the Mason Taylor, 2,800. I know that seems like a lot of Jets on that team to be playing this week, but I'm not thinking a 40-40 game with the Cowboys. but that's what I'm looking at. I don't really like anybody else. Maybe Font, maybe Barner, but for me overall, that's where I'm at. Where are you at on tight end?
Yeah, they were talking about it on the show the other night. If you didn't watch Doc's show, and they really like Taylor. I do too. He's pretty cheap. At that price. I don't know if he's going to have monster games in him, but if you're playing, he's probably going to be low owned. He's 2,800. If you're playing Fields, you put Wilson in there. You play Fields, Wilson, and put Taylor in at tight end. Save that money from, say, some of the higher end guys like McBride, who of course is great, but he's 5,800. Bowers 5,500. So you're saving a lot of money there. And I do like those guys at the high end, but we've talked about this before. There are times to pay up for tight end. There are times.
Yeah, there are. I don't do it, but there are.
If I think there's going to be a guy that's going to have a monster game and yada yada, or maybe sure. I used to pay up for Kelsey when he had the right matchup, and yeah, of course, and Tony Gonzalez back in the day, but I don't think but I think he's a great play. Tremble is a good play too. I think they're both good plays. 3,000. I think you can go.
I agree.
You could go Laporta at 4,200 on DK. Ertz 3,800. They're not horrible, but
or
we.
You can run it back. You can run it back with Ferguson too if you want to. If you want to say if you're going to pay up for tight end and you want to stay in that game, then get Ferguson because we know Ferguson should be open in the middle of the field since they have since Williams is hurt right now for the Jets. So that kind of opens up that linebacking core a little bit. So that
absolutely.
Way, that's going to help. And Sauce this is what Sauce is going to be on Pickens. So once Pickens is shut down, then that's where my boy Jalen Tolbert is going to flourish. So, yeah. Those are going to be some really nice plays.
And be careful with Juwan Johnson. He's questionable. I don't.
Or you got one more thing.
Johnson. I know I like him. I always like him, but he's questionable. So just keep an eye on him. But there's. I don't think you don't pay. You don't have to pay for Ryder Bowers. You can get away with a lot of other guys. But yeah, let's move on.
Yep. But before you go that, and by the way, his backup is hurt too. That's Johnson's backup. So Stoll, bang, 2,500 if you're feeling froggy. So watch that report. Defense. I'm going to say it right now. The Saints, I love it. 2,200 on DK and 3,500 on FanDuel. Everybody, y'all could think I'm crazy as heck, but let me tell you something. One thing the Saints do, even though they're getting 4 points, one thing the Saints are doing, they're getting a decent amount of sacks, and they're getting interceptions or defensive fumble recoveries. They're getting a little bit of points. Going into this game right now, if the Giants, I don't think going into New Orleans are going to be able to score 40 points or 30 points. And that's what the Saints have had to deal with. So right now, if the Giants just come in and roll in a 17 to 20 or 17 or 24 points, that should actually give that defense. And they're going to be low percent owned because I nail all these low percent owned. Jacksonville's defense last week, 2% owned. I mean, there's nothing more we got to say. But when you look at that, I'm willing to take that chance. Is there a defense? I mean, of course, Seahawks, 2,800, the daunting 2,800 tag. Steve, take it from there.
You named the Saints. Great. I would play Saints. Seahawks, you named the Seahawks. They've been playing really, really well. I just had it up here. They're only 2,800 on DK. Okay. They do have 2 defensive touchdowns, which we always talked about. You can't rely on that. However, they're getting those defensive touchdowns because they're playing good defense. They have 7 interceptions in 4 games and 12 sacks. 7 interceptions, 12 sacks in 4 games. They're averaging 12 and a half, DK points. Yeah. They're going against Tampa Bay at home. They're just a really good defense. They've been giving up some points, or actually, they have not been giving up points. They haven't given up over 20 points yet for the year. But when you're getting 3 sacks and almost 2 interceptions a game, That's great. And at 2,800, I think they're mispriced. Actually, I don't think they should. Why are the Cardinals? Yeah, I think they should be a little bit higher than that. And we have a real.
But the thing is they were trying to put those two things together like they do for the UFC. They were trying to put the Seahawks and the Bucks right next together. But what they're forgetting is this is NFC West. I know the NFC West. We have defense, right? They're in Seattle, and they're just gonna get stomped out. Tampa Bay, I'm staying away. But Seattle, I'll be in on that. And like you said, you were already there. So, yeah, that's what I got.
The big and the cheap one against my Baltimore Ravens, the Texans, $2,400 on DraftKings. They're playing pretty well. They have, 11 sacks on the year, only 2 interceptions, but they're not giving up a lot of points. We just talked about Lamar's out. Happen, obviously, they can get their sacks. They're only 2,400. Yes, it's in Baltimore, but they're a really cheap defense. They've had 6, 7, 5, and 14 fancy points on DK. And unless you get that defensive touchdown, you're normally not going to break 10 points for your deep. I mean, you can, but around 10, is what you're going to hope for. But last week they did not have a defensive touchdown. They had 2 sacks, interception. They only gave up 175 total yards last week. And now it was Tennessee, but, they shut them out. So I think that you could definitely play them against my Ravens.
I like it. Man, that's it. That's how we do it. All right, man. Let's move it along. Steve, give us your core 4 and your Fuego pick of the week.
All right. I've been debating with this. All right. So we're going to go Fields at quarterback. I can get him in there, 5,600, and pair him with Wilson. Pair him up with Wilson. That's 2 of my 4. They're going to have a good game against Dallas. They should have a great game against Dallas. Again, if you look at Wilson's numbers, they're off the charts right now. I think they're going to have a great game. I'm going Deebo Samuel. Play him at 6,300. It's fine. I think he's going to have he's going to have a good game. He's going to be one of the few people. And Daniels is back now. It's not Mariota. So he's familiar. Again, McLaurin's out. So plug Samuel in to your lineup. So you got Fields and Wilson and Samuel. Let's go running back, Miami, Achane. I always pronounce it Achane. He's going to have a good game. 20 carries last week, going up. It's at Carolina, but it doesn't matter. It's not like they're traveling far. I think he's going to have a really good game. So get him in your lineups. I'm a little all over the place with this week, my lineup. Check Discord because I am doing 3. I have some other really good lineups that I'm working on. Kyler Murray lineup, whatever. But my Fuego pick, and we've talked a little bit about this guy, not much. It's Gibbs on Detroit. Yeah. He's my Fuego pick. Get him in there. He splits time with Montgomery. I get it. But Cincinnati cannot stop the run. And Gibbs is the workhorse. Gibbs is the workhorse out of those guys. He started off week 1, 9 carries, then week 12, 22, 15. I think he's going to get closer to that 18 to 20 some this week. Now, remember, too, Montgomery, he's got a lot of points because he broke a couple against my Ravens. He went for, but Gibbs, 58 attempts, 271 yards, and 4 touchdowns, and he's averaging 67 yards a game, which is actually a little low compared to last year. He's still catching the ball out of the backfield. In week 1, he had 10 catches. He only had 2 last week, but he had 5 the week before, 3 the week before. He's got, and he scored in every game. No, he didn't score in game 1, but he scored in the past 3, 1, 2, and 1 touchdowns. He's going to score. He's going to get points.
Yep.
Pay the 7,700. Get him in your lineup against Cincinnati, and remember, put him in your flex spot. I don't think I have to remind people when you're playing on these, put the late game people in your flex spot in case in case something happens. You want to be able to move your flex spot with late swaps. So let's say something happened.
Smart.
Yes, always.
You brought that up because a lot of people overlook that. I mean,
I even forget
you don't,
sometimes.
but a lot of people do.
I even forget sometimes. I'm making a line real quick, and then like especially for NBA, because NBA, you got West Coast games, so
Yeah.
you have a utility spot or whatever. You want to make sure you have that flexibility. So put Gibbs in your flex spot, and then you also at that point you have $7,700. And in my lineup, I have the Seahawks. So, let's say something happens and you're either behind or you want to play it safe, and you could switch it up maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe go through Brown or Chase. You want to go for it or something and then drop, your defense or, something like that. So Gibbs, out of all the high-priced players, I think he's the guy to play this week.
I agree with you 100%. You want to give out your lineup right now then, and then I'll get to the ultra contrarian lineups?
Now, keep in mind, this is the one I've got a couple. So check out Discord because I have another one that I really like. So I think you don't have. This is the one I currently have. I got Fields at quarterback. I got a Chain at running back. I got Scatterville at running back. Harrison, Samuel, Wilson, Taylor, Gibbs, and the Seahawks D. But that's my lineup. But I think you could drop down from the Seahawks. The Texans and upgrade elsewhere. So if you wanted to, you could do that, for example, Samuel, or you could upgrade Scatteroo. You could go up to Walker, or you could run it back with Williams on down. In that lineup, I actually like running back with Williams. So you could drop down in Houston and play. So keep that in mind. Watch for my updates in Discord, but that's what I like.
I love it, man. I love it. And you can tell great minds think alike, man, because it's coming up, man. Let's get to it.
It's that part of the game. The little things happen. Ooh, yeah. It's time for the
Ultra Contrarian lineups. I'm going to run them off real quick, and then I'm going to do the optimizers lineup. It's Daniel Jones, Breece Hall, A-Chain, Wilson, JSN, Smith-Njigba, of course, Deebo Samuel, Ty Warren, Rico Dowdle, and Saints defense. Even the optimizer likes my defense. But I little sway on that, and that's a DK lineup. This is my DK lineup. It's Stroud, Hall, Gibbs, Quentin Johnson again. I'm running it until the wheels fell off, right? Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson. I've got Mason Taylor. I've got A-Chan, and I've got the Seahawks defense. I went all nutsy. Let's flip it to FanDuel. FanDuel? Ooh, Stroud, Gibbs, Hall, Johnston, Collins. Wait a minute. Jalen Tolbert, Taylor, A-Chain, and the Saints defense had to switch it up a little bit right there. Those are the ultra contrarian lineups. Your thoughts, Steve, and then we'll get out of here.
I love it. Those are great, and I love it. And
I got them all in. I got Gibbs.
Just while you were talking, if people want a bonus Fuego lineup, I can give it to them right now. It's up to you. But if you want a Murray lineup, I can give it out right now.
Do it.
Murray, Hall. Pay up for Jonathan Taylor. Pay the $8,000. Match Murray with Harrison. Play Samuel. Play Smith. Play him on Seattle. Play Tremble. Play Hampton at running back, and then go Saints D. That's your second lineup right there. I'll put it into.
I love it.
I liked it. Just as you were talking, I came up with it. And that's how easy it is, people. Listen to us. Look at our optimizers. Just think. And just go stop messing around, and you know what? Compare it. So just right there, I think that's an interesting lineup. I'll put that in there as well. And it was a great show.
Right, it was. But hey, let's give out one more, and then we're going to go out the way. Here's an MMA lineup for tonight's UFC 320 off of the optimizer. Now, you got to go to the Subs Only Discord to get all the other crazy stuff that we got going on. But let's just roll it. Gautier, Walker, Proshak, Dvalishvili, Soriano, Rahimija. I love Rahimija. He's worked out in a lot of things. He just needs to go the distance, maybe get a win, but he is this heavy dog. They got him at 41 points. I know you don't do UFC, but man, another great show, my brother.
I really want to start doing UFC, so I'm gonna help everyone I'm gonna help
We
you with
win
NBA.
so much money. We win so much money. Like, these people don't know. I'm literally the baddest dude in the world at this right now.
And then I get pissed because you send me your winning lineups. I'm like, why didn't I play? Why didn't I play? So, but also, just before we get out, also look in Discord. We got a couple NBA games tonight. I'll be putting in some lineups there too.
Oh, we're getting rich tonight. Let's go. That's how you make those tough bets, Steve. Yeah.
And I know everyone loves football. But here's what you do: when you win your money in football and you're bored during the week, go play the other stuff that we got on our site.
That's right.
We're gonna have one guy coming on soon. I talked to Doc about. If you like auto racing, my boy he knows everything about F1, everything. Listen to him.
Oh, this is going to be great. All right, my brother, thanks for taking time out on your day. You have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day, everybody. And always remember to bring the pain.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.